Hello, Lindsay again. This is our week 2 training. For this one, we're going to start with stay with the duration. So there's 3 different things you want to work on when you're working on stay. One of them is duration. So with this stay, we're going to work on just a 1-second stay. And the second one is distance, which we're not going to work on today. A lot of people will tell their dog to stay, and then they'll immediately back away from them, but that's not what we're working on yet. And then there's distraction, which is something you can work on further down the line. They're not ready for distractions on their stays yet. All right, so how this is going to work. Hang on, come here. This works really well when you put them in a sit position. Hang on, come here. Sit. Good. And what we're going to do is we're going to, come here. Sit. Stay. Stay. And if he stays for 1 second, just count it in your head, 1 second. If he stays, then reward him. Hang on. Sit. Stay. Good. Now I wasn't going to reward him because he was pawing at me, and that wasn't technically stay. So I wait until he's got 4 paws on the ground, and then he gets rewarded. Sit. Stay. Good. So just counting that 1 second in your head. All right, the next one we are going to do is a down using visual only. So with this one, I've got the treat in my hand here, and then I've got the reward treats in my right hand. So this is best when you start in a sit position. And we're going to try to do this without using any verbal right now. Good. And then you take that treat and just kind of follow it down until they're all the way down. Good. So my visual cue for down is just a pointing down. Some people like to use a different one. It's up to you. Just be consistent on it. So I'm going to start again, tingles. And I'm not going to tell them what to do or anything. Good. And I'm going to take that lure treat down. Good. Till he's all the way down on the ground. All right, the next one we're going to do is sit visual only. Or I'm sorry, sit verbal only is how we're going to start this one. So this one, take your lower hand, make your visual hand signal, and wait until he does it. It might take a minute. Good. Because it's important that they know both visual and verbal, because in different situations you might need one or the other. You won't be able to use both. Take, for example, you're in a busy store or something and you can't talk to them. So you have to be able to communicate with them with that hand signal. And same with verbal. Maybe your hands are full. Same with not being able to use a hand signal. Maybe your hands are full and you can't use that hand signal and you got to give them a verbal. So it's important that they know both of them. All right, so I did the verbal and now we're going to do visual. Same thing. Take your lower hand. I'm going to walk him back this way. Take your lower hand. Give him the signal. Good. And we're not telling him to sit. All we're doing is using the visual on that one. All right. And the next one is heel and finish. Heel is when you want the dog to show up on your left-hand side, facing forward. And then the finish is when you want them to show up on your right-hand side, facing forward. Now, normally when we do a sit, when we ask a dog to sit, they are sitting right in front of us. But with this one, we want them sitting on either side of us, depending what command we're using. So for here, you start, he already knows it. Now this one, you're going to use your lower hand to dispense the treats as well. So they're going to start in front of you, and you're going to take that lure, and you're going to walk them around in a circle until he finishes next to you, and then you're going to pull that treat up so he gets into the sit position. Heel. All right, and same thing for the finish, just the opposite side. So he's starting in a sit position. I'm going to take him and I'm going to lure him around until he's turned around. And I'm going to signal to the sit. Good. And then I'm going to reward him with that. All right, and then next we're going to work on leave it. So we're taking it a step further and we're going to do a leave it command where we're going to throw the treat behind our back. And then we're going to use our bodies to body block him from getting it. So We've got treats here. So I'm going to take my treat and I'm going to drop it behind my back. And I'm going to use I'm not going to kick them. I'm not going to yell at them. I'm just going to, good. I'm just going to keep them from getting it. He chokes on it. You all right? Ate too quick. But I'm never going to let him get that treat that landed on the floor. That's the one that I told him to leave it. All right, so we're going to do it again. I'm going to take the treat. I'm going to drop it behind me. And I'm going to body block him so that he doesn't get that treat. And then the minute he stops paying attention to that treat, good, he gets rewarded. But he never gets that treat on the floor. All right, and then target, we're going to take a step further this week. Last week we did the target where all he had to do was touch the hand that was right in front of his face. But this one we're going to change the distance and we're going to change the elevation. So I'm going to take a little higher. Tango, touch. Touch. And if they don't get it, then you can get a little closer. Good. Tango, touch. Good. And as you work on this, you want to work your hand a little bit further away. Touch. He's being stubborn now. Touch. Good. So a little bit more work with that for him. I believe that's all the cues for this week. We'll see you again next week. Thank you.